A very good evening, everyone. So, on the behalf of Shere Kashmir University of Agricultural Sciences and Technology, Kashmir, Team Just Agriculture and Agro-Environmental Education and Farmers Welfare Society, Punjab, I, Himani Gautam, cordially welcome you all to the sixth day of this 7 days international faculty development program on improving the writing skills of early career researcher. So through this program, our motto is to help the early career researchers in improving their knowledge about research and publication, to guide them about various important things like how to select an appropriate research topic, how to write a effective review and research paper, and which digital tools should be used for the development of better writing skills, and most importantly, how to choose the best journal for your work, and what are the do's and don'ts for writing a research or review paper. So, in order to guide the early career researchers, Just Agriculture has organized this program, which is a series of lectures from national and international experts. And in this series, our today's guest is Dr. George Thomas, sir. So presently, Dr. George Thomas, sir, is working as chairman of Kerala State Biodiversity Board. And before joining the board, he was the director of research at the Integrated Rural Technology Center, Kerala, and he was with the Kerala Agriculture University for a long time in various positions, and retired as the Dean College of Agriculture, Thrissur, and he held the position of professor and head Department of Agronomy as well. So Dr. Thomas has obtained MSc Agriculture from Kerala Agriculture University and PhD from the Indian Agriculture Research Institute, New Delhi. So Dr. Thomas has authored 18 books and over 400 other publications, including research papers, book chapters, and popular articles with national and international publishers. So he is a recipient of Krishka Bharati Award which is from the best farm journalist of Government of Kerala for his contribution towards the farm journalism. He is the author of the popular book named as Research Methodology and Scientific Writing, which is co-published by A&E Books, New Delhi, and Springer Nature. So, sir, it's quite clear from your profile that you have vast experience and expertise in scientific writing and publications, and you can guide the young researchers very well. So now, without wasting much time, I would like to invite Dr. George Thomas, sir, to deliver his talk. So welcome, sir, and over to you.
Thank you, Himani. Well, so nowadays, good evening, all the participants, and I hope all our faculty members. Am I right? Or early career researchers. Some students may also be there, research students. Hope so. Okay. So anyway, I will be progressing with my talk, but with the help of a presentation. Well, nowadays, all of us talk about the ethics involved, plagiarism, paraphrasing, and so many other kind of things. And in India, many of you may be knowing that the University Grants Commission, they have come with several measures to curb unethical practices in academic activities, including thesis writing and scientific writing, papers, articles, and so on. So the young people should be guided in a proper way so that they produce only ethical materials or materials in a proper way. So some training, some guidance is required in the very initial stage itself. So that is my motto in introducing some of the latest concepts with respect to these kind of things. Okay, so I think I'll start with my presentation and discuss when the slides are presented. Well, can you see the slides?
Yeah, sir, I can see.
Okay, whether it is moving?
Yes, sir, it's moving.
It's moving, right. The topic is plagiarism control and publishing ethics. So that means there should be a control, or we have to manage plagiarism. Probably we may not be able to write 100% plagiarism-free articles, but there should be a limit for everything. Okay, so if you are able to follow some of the established ethics, then I think you can create or you can produce 100% plagiarism-free articles. Okay, so many of you may have heard this phrase, publish or perish, meaning if you are in a research institution or an educational institution, publication is essential, and if you're not able to publish, the chances of not getting promotions are great. So for career advancement and for getting good jobs, publications are essential. So that publication includes what? Papers, research papers with high quality rating. So we'll discuss the means of, which are the means of rating also, rating. Yeah, well, along with that, okay, this is publish or perish. And now I am saying publish and perish because there are some people who publish papers which are plagiarist or which have been produced following unethical standards. And if they are caught, their career is in jeopardy. So that is meaning of publish and perish. So don't go for publish and perish kind of syndrome. And these are some of the situations where you will perish. So manipulation and fabrication of data, duplicate manuscript, fraudulent authorship. So authorship itself can be of fraudulent nature. Sometimes you may include the names of persons who are no way connected with the research work. And because of some connection or because his fame and popularity, sometimes you may include the names of some persons which are close to you, sometimes your friends. So such kind of situations we usually call frauds or fraudulent authorships. So we usually say hierarchical authors, gift authors, then sometimes your relatives, your husband, your wives, or like that. Then conflicts of interest. So you may have some conflicts, you may have some interests. So these kind of things are not acceptable. Then publishing in predatory journals. So some journals are classified as predatory. So you should know which are the predatory journals and never go for publishing in predatory journal. Then publishing in journal with low rating. So nowadays people ask for impact factor. So everybody wants to publish in high impact factor journals. Or India, usually we talk about NAS rating. And what is the relation between impact factor and NAS rating? Then the last one, plagiarism. Simply copying ideas, copying sentences, copying paragraphs, and so on. Well, what we need is not publish and perish kind of situation or publish or perish, but what we want is publish good articles, ethical articles, then flourish in your career. Okay. Then, so how will you assess a scientist? Well, see, there should be criteria to assess a scientist or a teacher. And every researcher or every scientist are not allowed in their works. So normally we consider total number of publications. You know that total number of publications, how many research papers, how many conference publications, then total number of citations. Again, when you consider the total number of publications, again there are problems. So UGC consider or ICR considers only those research articles which follow some standards. And that standard we usually call peer-reviewed articles. Sometimes we say its impact factor should be above a certain limit, or NAS rating should be above 6, like that. Then total number of citation, that's more important nowadays. And citation, it is very easy to access, very easy to understand the total number of citations. So even if you can't see your citation, there are databases or programs which will really reveal your citation. Then H index, and I don't know how many of you know the meaning of H index. Anyway, I will tell you. I-turn index. So that's a creation from Google Scholar. Then see, an upcoming scientist or a budding scientist should also have a Google Scholar profile, a ResearchGate profile. Then SSRN membership, that is Social Science Research Network. But don't worry about that. Social science now it has been removed, or SSRN, that includes biological sciences, physical sciences, and so on. Now this SSRN is owned by Elsevier. So these three are a must. And SSRN, all these are free. Google Scholar, you need not pay anything. ResearchGate, again, you need not pay anything. SSRN membership also, anybody can join as member. Okay. The benefits of joining these profiles, everybody know, your name will be known to many other people in your fraternity. Your papers will get more chances of getting cited. So you will be known in your circles. Okay. The first thing is you should avoid predatory and low impact journals. Okay, after a big toil, after heavy hard work, you created a paper. It should not get buried in inappropriate journals. Okay, some of you may be knowing the meaning of predatory journal. They usually demand huge money, but they may not be keeping any standards at all. Predatory journals. So this is a definition given in Nature. So I have taken it from that Nature article. Predatory journals and publishers are entities that prioritize self-interest. So that self-interest is underlined at the expense of scholarship and are characterized by false or misleading information, deviation from best editorial and publication practices, lack of transparency, and or the use of aggressive and indiscriminate solicitation practices. Okay, so many of you might have seen this in your email inbox. Every week, you may get some solicitation journals that if you send your paper to us, we'll publish it within no time, within 2 days, within 1 week, like that. So don't go for such unethical or such improper journals that may have some problems with your career when you represent or when you take your paper to the interview goal or apply for career advancement. Sometimes they may not consider it at all. So UGC has brought in some rules also. I'll tell you later. So, okay. How to find out a predatory journals? It's not so easy. So having recognized this problem of predatory journals, University Grants Commission has come out with some standards. I'll tell you that. Okay. So sometimes from the title itself you can understand. So sometimes they may say International Journal of Physical, Biological and Agricultural Sciences. That may be their title. So anything under the sun can be included in that kind of journals. Okay, so it is better to follow the UGC care list. And if the journal is excluded from the list, it might be predatory. So actually in here, what I give advices to my students is better to follow UGC care list. I'll tell you more about UGC care list. So CARE means Consortium for Academic and Research Ethics. Consortium for Academic and Research Ethics. So it is functioning under UGC. It's a major objective of CARE is to prevent publication predatory and dubious journals. and it has two groups of journals. UGC Care, they have two groups of journals. So UGC Care List Group 1 and UGC Care List Group 2. So I told you, if your journal in question is included in either UGC Care List Group 1 or UGC Care List Group 2, you can reasonably assume that they are not predatory journals. So journals found qualified through UGC Care protocol, they are included under UGC Care List Group 1, and UGC Care List Group 2, there are journals in globally recognized databases. So many of you may be knowing that these Web of Science and Scopus databases are much acclaimed and respected databases. And if you are able to put your journal, or if your journal find a place in this Web of Science and Scopus, you can reasonably assume that they are not predatory journals. Okay, now I'll just take you to this UGC Care their website. This is UGC Care, their page, profile page. So Pune University is maintaining this UGC Care. So here you can see Group 1 and Group 2 has been shown here. So here again, it is there, UGC Care List Group 1 and UGC Care List Group 2. So first we'll go through this UGC Care list. Anyway, so if you want to join as a member, you can do it. You can register for free. So I already registered this. That's why they are showing this. So yeah, UGC Care List Group 2. So this is Web of Science. I told you that Web of Science and Scopus. Web of Science as well as Scopus. So if you want to know whether your journal is there, you can take Science Citation Index expanded and check whether your journal is included there. So this is a list of journals. You can put your journal name here and find out whether it is there in the Web of Science group. Okay, that's one method. Another Scopus is also given here. Scopus. Yeah. Here again, they are showing the list of some 44,000 journals. So these names, some names are given already, Lancet, Review of Modern Physics, Chemical Reviews, and so on. If you are very particular about knowing whether it is included, you just type your journal title here, enter title, so that will show you whether it is there or not. Okay. And if your journal in question is not present in either Scopus or Web of Science, then there is one more opportunity. So that is list, UGC list 1. So these are additional. So here again, you can check sciences. So some 449 journal titles have been included there. This is discipline wise. Then social sciences, arts and humanities, multidisciplinary Indian languages, etc. are given here. Okay. I hope now you can see the screen. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I already mentioned about UGC Care list group 1 and group 2. Now, something about open access journals. Nowadays, you are hearing this term, open access journals. So that means they are journals freely available on the internet. So you need not pay any money to access articles from that open access journals. But mind you, only peer-reviewed open access journals qualify as valid publications. So they enable free access to research papers. And it lowers the cost for research in both public-funded institutions and private concerns. And it also increases higher citation rates, which will be reflected in author impact factor. Okay, these are some of the advantages of open access journals. And journals by Indian Council of Agricultural Research, then Indian Academy of Sciences, or CSIR, all of them are open access journals. All of them are open access journals. So these are some of the examples. Journals by the Indian Academy of Sciences, journals by ICR, and they have a separate directory also for directory of open access journals. So www.doaj.org. So if you check, or you need not remember this directory at all, you just type open access journals, that will take you to that website. And another thing is whether it has a DOI, digital object identifier. So each article or each journal may have a DOI, and this DOI is an identifying mark. So it's a unique alphanumeric string assigned by a registration agency. And there's an international foundation also, international DOI foundation is there for this purpose. Now, what do you mean by impact factor? So some of you may be knowing about this. Still, I am assuming that there are many who do not have much idea about impact factor. Okay, so what is an impact factor? It is used as an index to signify the importance of published research papers. And impact factors are calculated for journals as well as authors, for both. Well, see, I already mentioned about Scopus and Web of Science. They are citation databases. So along with that, I am adding another one, Google Scholar, because Google Scholar is a free database. Anybody can access this Google Scholar, but Scopus and Web of Science, they are restricted. You cannot access them, of course, but to a certain extent only. It is not 100% free. But Google Scholar, it is 100% free. I hope the screen is moving. No problem, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
It is moving. Okay, right. Then something about Web of Science. So Web of Science, it is owned by uh, a what you call information giant, Clarivate Analytics. So they are the author of Web of Science. Earlier, it was owned by Thomson Reuters. Now it is Clarivate Analytics. In some books, we may find that Web of Science is owned by Thomson Reuters, but no, Thomson Reuters, it has been taken over by Clarivate Analytics. Now it is owned by them. So it provides subscription-based underlying. You cannot simply access them. Access to multiple databases for comprehensive citation data for many different academic disciplines. So if we touch this, then it may take to the website. So anyway, let us see. So this is Web of Science. I'm not going to details because the time is limited. It may take some time. Anyway, Web of Science, go to product, contacts, etc. are there. Similar case with Scopus. See, we already went to their website, Scopus. So I don't need to take you there. So it is again an abstract and citation database launched in 2004. So life sciences, social sciences, physical sciences, and health sciences are covered under Scopus. And this is Google Scholar. So it's a subsidiary of Google. Okay, so it's a freely accessible search engine that indexes the full text of metadata of academic literature. And sometimes you may get full papers from Google Scholar, sometimes only abstract. And it also has a feature cited by, from which you will know how many people have cited your article. Okay, and Google Scholar automatically calculates and displays the individual's total citation count, H index, item index, and so on. Okay. Now we'll go to Google Scholar later. Don't worry. I think, yeah. Let us simply go to Google Scholar. This is my page. So from here, you will get the total number of citations, H index, item index, cited by feature, then your papers listed, and so on. Okay. Yeah. Journal level metrics. I already mentioned that author level metrics are available and journal level metrics. Now, first we will go through the journal level metric. There are several, but we will talk about only three now. Journal impact factor, NAS rating, site score. Okay, then SciMajo journal rank, source normalized impact per paper, impact per publication, agent factor, alt metrics, etc. are also there, but we will concentrate only the first three. Then we have other level metrics: total number of publications, total number of cited references, H index, G index, item index, RG, research interest score. Okay, so the most important one is journal impact factor, JIF. Okay, so its history, a brief history has been given because everybody speak about impact factor. That's why I put it here. So originally it was conceived in 1960s by a gentleman, Eugene Garfield. And he started the Institute for Scientific Information, ISI. Now, of course, it is part of Climate Analytics, and it has been published in Science Journal also. So JIF for a journal is computed based on a 3-year period by dividing the total number of current year citations with the source articles published in that journal during the preceding 2 years. So 3-year period is considered, and how many citations it got during the current year from the article cited 2 years back. Okay, so if you want to know all these kind of things, you have to subscribe this journal citation report, etc. are there. Okay, so an example has been given. So a journal's impact factor for 2021. How will you identify this? So take the total number of citations in 2021, that is X, to articles that were published in the journal in 2019 and 20, 2-year period, and third, 2021. So we are calculating it for 2021. So divide citation for 2021, that is X, by the total number of articles published in that same journal in 2019 and 20. So X divided by Y, that will give you journal impact factor. Okay, so that's why we say the journal Nature, its JIF is about 40. Science, again, its journal impact factor is about 40. And there are even journals whose impact factor is more than 200. Okay. Indian Journal of Agricultural Sciences by ICAR. So many of you may be knowing that Indian Journal of Agricultural Sciences is a journal by ICAR. So its journal impact factor is 1 or 2. But its NAS rating maybe 7, because 6 plus 1, 7. I'll come to that. Okay. So it has got some relation with the NAS rating. This is a NAS rating of journals, National Academy of Agricultural Sciences. So in India, NAS, they recognize that many of the journals in agriculture, they may not have any impact factor at all. And they want to categorize, rate journals. So they made a system. So each journal is assessed for a maximum of 20 points. And its relative weightage is indicated by assigning appropriate points at the sheet journals. Okay, so they have decided the journals with the impact factor and without impact factor. So non-impact factor journals have been assigned a place from 1 to 6, and journals with impact factor a place from 6.1 to 20. So maximum is 20 only here. So all those journals which have impact factor from 1 to 200 or so, they will get these values. So up to 1, if I say the impact factor is of this journal is just 6, that means it do not have any impact factor at all. But it is 6.1. That indicates that it has an impact factor of 0.1, because 6 plus impact factor is the NAS rating for a journal. And if there are no impact factor, then its NAS rating will be less than 6. So 5, a journal with 4, a journal with 5, or a journal with 3. It will not have any impact factor at all. Only those journal with the NAS rating above 6 will have an impact factor. Okay, and above 20, so above 20 they won't consider. So even if it is 200, I told you about that. Cancer or Nature, its impact factor is 40, but it will be given only 20. So that is a system, this NAS rating, or NAS follows now. Then a competing score is also given now, that is site score. It has been introduced by Elsevier. Okay, so we know that JIF or impact factor or journal impact factor is derived from journals indexed in the Web of Science, and here Elsevier launched site score to counter the journal impact factor of classified analytics. These two are different giants or different corporate entities who produces this kind of databases. So site score, already mentioned impact factor, and a third rating is NAS score. So here is also site score is also calculated in a similar fashion that of impact factor, but here they use a 4-year time window. So citations are counted cumulatively from the year of publication until the end of the calculation window, which is up to 4 years. So earlier it was 3 years, now it is 4 years in the case of site score. This means that all citations received by publication this period are counted with site score values. So, for example, site score for 2021 divided by so numerator A, citation to articles published in a particular journal from 2018 to 2021, and denominator articles published in 2018 to 2020. Cited references. So it's a feature in certain online database such as Google Scholar. So if you go through the articles in Google Scholar, you will find that a cited by link is given, cited by 2021, like that. Okay, from that you can calculate total cited feature. These Web of Science, Scopus, ResearchGate, etc. give you that value. So you can find out what are the total citation for you. Then I mentioned about H index. So this H index is going to be a very important index in future, now itself. Okay, so sometimes if you apply for grant, a research grant, or if you want to write a book, sometimes the publishers ask you, what is your H index? And even if you don't reveal, they will find out your H index. And based on H index, they will rate you whether you are a great scientist or not. Okay, so the H index in H index stands for Hirsch. Hirsch is the name of a person who started this H index. So it was originally started in H index in H has two connotations. One is that particular individual and highly cited. Okay, so H index gives a measure of the number of articles of an author that have received at least H citations up to that time. So, for example, if I say a particular individual has H index as 10, that means he has 10 articles that have received at least 10 citations each. 10 articles that have received at least 10 citations each. And if I say one person's H index is 100, he will be a great man. Okay, so that particular individual may have 100 articles with more than 100 citations each. Okay, and for calculating H index, I'll show you the Google Scholar site of a particular individual who has got more than or 100 H index, and you can compare H index of yours. So what is your H index? For calculating H index, several information sources such as Web of Science, Scopus, Google Scholar, and ResearchGate are used, which includes the necessary citation data. So all these Web of Science, Scopus, Google Scholar. Item index. So this is a feature from Google Scholar again. So it just gives you how many publications are there or you are having with more than 10 citations. If I say my item index is 10, that means I have 10 articles with more than 10 citations each. Okay, so how will you calculate H index? So you just consider only the first and second column. Third is, of course, for G index that I'm not mentioning now because of positive time. Just understand how H index is calculated. So what actually they do is, we have to rank our documents. The first rank, that will get maximum citation. If you are having some 20 articles, you may write 1, 2, 3, 20 articles, and first article with the maximum citation. Of course, here, this particular gentleman is having the first rank, 28 citation, second 26, third 21, fourth 19, 15, 11, 8, and so on. So now you just see this particular man, his H index is 8. Why? Because he has 8 articles with more than 8 citations. 8 articles with more than 8 citations. Not 7 or 6. 8 articles with more than 8 citations. So you just remember the definition which I have already given. So, and another case, scientist B or scientist 2. See, here, this particular gentleman, he has some articles with many citations. Earlier, the first one, it was about only 28 citations. Now, the first one you see, he has done 200 citations, second 100, 50, 30, 10. After that, the citation count is very, very less. So in order to compare the first one and second one, and if you consider the total citation from between the first scientist and second scientist, total citation is very high for the scientist B or scientist 2. But here, what you see, his H index is simply 6, only 6. Earlier, it was 8. That means more evenly distributed. The citations are more evenly distributed in the case of scientist B. Okay, so I'll now show you a particular person with the H index 100. Okay. So you can go through the Google Scholar profile of some of the great persons and find out what are their H indexes. Some of you might have heard about this gentleman. So I know this person very well because he was my senior in my college. He's from Kerala Agricultural University, now working at University of Western Australia. So you can see his articles. The first article, it has got that particular article is 889 citation. And you just see total citation is 38,000. H index is 100. Iron index is 494. So H index 100 means he has 100 articles with more than 100 citations. And 494 articles are there with more than 10 citations. Okay, so similar to that, we can check the Google Scholar profile of any individual which you like. Okay. Okay. I hope you can see this screen now, no problem. Research interest score. Okay. Are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can see you.
Okay. So research interest score. So RG. Again, it is something like a social media platform. Anybody can become a member. And if you put your articles, so I have an RG profile, so you can very well visit my profile, C. George Thomas. So you can find out. So I am not a very great scientist, which I mentioned earlier, but not bad. But okay. So ResearchGate is a massively popular social networking site for academicians and researchers. So it is based on number of publications, citations, or reads, recommendations, questions asked, answers given, and followers. So they show a score one. So again, nowadays we were talking about altmetrics. Again, in social media, there may be mentioned about in Twitter, there may be mentioned about your article. So such kind of things are available through some site databases like Impact Story. Probably you may be knowing about PLOS, Public Library of Science, PLOS journal. They are entirely online. So these kind of things are now coming up. It's a new breed of metrics which can show the immediate impact of research works in social domain. Then I started with the research misconduct. What do you mean by research misconduct? So it is defined as fabrication, falsification, or plagiarism in proposing, performing, or reviewing research, or in reporting research results. Okay, so it has been given by this Federal Research Misconduct Policy. So we are trying to avoid we are trying to avoid research misconduct. Okay. So plagiarism is the action of an individual misappropriating someone else's intellectual work, such as ideas, opinions, art design, or writing answers, or in a modified form, and passing them off as his or her own original work with or without permission. So even if you get the permission of a particular person, you are not supposed to plagiarize. You are not supposed to copy, because you have to write it in your own words. So plagiarism checking softwares are now available. At any cost, you have to avoid plagiarism. You should not misappropriate someone else's ideas, opinions, or art designs, or even some information or from a textbook. You are not supposed to garner, appropriate the writings of that particular individual asset. So what you want to do is you have to paraphrase that material. Authors must ensure that the book or article you write. See, when you write an article or when you write a book, so don't be under the impression that you can steal sentences or you can take paragraphs as such and use it for your work. So you can do that if that comes under common knowledge. So information available in more than 5. So that is a yardstick. If it is available in more than 5 sources, we usually say it's common knowledge. In that case, you can take the information without citing the source, but again, you have to paraphrase your material. That means you have to write in your own words. So that is the meaning of paraphrasing. So you must ensure that the book or article you write does not infringe upon any trademark, patent statutory rights, and proprietary rights of others. So in addition to plagiarism, sometimes you have to make sure that it do not infringe upon the copyright of that particular person. Copyright is also involved there. So copyright, many of you might have heard of copyright. These are to protect the rights of authors of literary and artistic works such as books, musical works, paintings, sculptures, computer programs, and films. So if there is no copyright, what unethical people will do, they may multiply and make good profit out of that. Okay, if you are having a book, others are not supposed to copy or print. So in India, the duration of copyright for authors is life of the author plus 60 years. Okay, life plus 60 years. Okay, so while writing a book, an author must ensure that all material included in that particular book is own, or if some part is taken from another source, the author has permission to do so. So this you better observe. After going through the books, after a table or after a figure, they may write. In addition to source, they may write reproduced with permission. Reproduced with permission. Okay, so otherwise you cannot take it that. So piracy and plagiarism are different. Piracy is a clear case of copyright infringement. So if you multiply a chapter and sell it, that is of course piracy. And in plagiarism, copyright violation may not involve, because a particular gentleman has written a book. He died after 100 years. If you are copying, nobody is there to go for litigation. But it is an unethical practice that comes under plagiarism. Okay. Sometimes you may find that older books may not have any copyright at all, so anybody can publish that. See, you may be knowing that there is a book, Flora of the Presidency of Madras State by Gamble. So now it is under public domain. Anybody can publish that book. Or Flora of India by Hooker. Okay, so they are legitimate, but you cannot take a particular page and publish it as yours. It is unethical. Then it comes under plagiarism. So these are some of the examples: copying sentences or paragraphs from books and articles without quotation marks. So sometimes it is allowed. You can take one or two sentences or even a paragraph, but it should be put in quotation marks. That means it is not yours, but you are taking it, you are borrowing. And copying from internet sources through cut and paste, that is also not allowed. And taking credit for a work created or done by somebody else. And sometimes you may make simple grammatical or word order cosmetic changes or borrowed material and representing it as one's own work. That is also not allowed. You have to change your sentences. Now, there are some paraphrasing softwares are available like Killboard, etc., which will help you to change your sentences. But understand that it's a program, it's not man, it's not individual, and it may have some errors, but you have to go through everything. Killboard. Probably some students may be knowing about that software, which help you to paraphrase material and make it original. Again, so imperfect paraphrasing of the works of another person with minor changes, keeping meaning, form, and progression of ideas of the original. That also comes under plagiarism. Patching works over theirs into a new one. For example, sometimes people, what they do is they may take one sentence from a book, another sentence from a second book, a third sentence from third book, and you may patch it up and you may claim that it's new. No, it's not new. So if it is subjected to some plagiarism checking softwares, it can detect such practices. And self-plagiarism is also taboo. So you cannot create your own works and claim it as a new one. So people who produces numerous articles from theses should be aware about that. Sometimes some students may do what they do is they just change the title of the articles and send it for some other journals and publish. You may land in trouble. Don't do that. And these are some of the types of plagiarism. Direct plagiarism. Direct. That means if you copy all paragraphs or longer passages from another source without quotation marks, as though it is their creation. It's direct. Paraphrase plagiarism. Okay, so here what they do is the other paraphrases or restates a part of someone else's work, but without citing the source. He may concede the source. Mosaic plagiarism, appropriating phrases from other sources or using synonyms to change some words or parts of a sentence, but the general structure of the work remains the same. That's why it has been given the name mosaic plagiarism. And insufficient acknowledgement. Others may have mentioned the original source of only a part of what has been taken, or they may not have cited the source suitably. So insufficient acknowledgement, a passing reference, that's not enough. Complete plagiarism. if you appropriate someone else's article as such and publish it under your name. So, for example, in some universities, the assignments are there for students, and now I don't know. Earlier, the practice, if some bright students may write assignment, and others copy it. Okay, so that's a case of complete plagiarism. So I already mentioned self-plagiarism. This occurs when the author uses her own previous work, such as texts, articles, and research results for a new work without mentioning that they have been published before. An accidental plagiarism, that is accidental, unknowingly, unintentional. It includes problems such as neglecting to cite the sources, misquoting the sources, or inadvertently using the source by similar words, group of words, or sentence structure without attribution. That's a case of accidental plagiarism. So how to avoid unintentional plagiarism? Okay, so you should have somewhat a good language proficiency. So if you want to write in your own words, that's necessary, that particular language in which you write. Then why do people commit plagiarism? Procrastination means you are waiting until the last minute. You are in a hurry. You don't have time to make your own sentences. You just copy as it. So don't do that. Inadequate time for preparation, poor writing skills, pressure to produce publication, ignorance about the implications of plagiarism, pressure to produce publication. So you want to produce more. So what you will do? You will split everything into 3, 4 articles using the same data. And you may not be knowing the implications of plagiarism. Okay, so ignorance is not a bliss. Okay, so you cannot simply say, oh, I am ignorant about these kind of things. You cannot, because you are all a lot of people with a good educational background. You should know that what plagiarism checking softwares are now available. And if caught, the results would be disastrous. So what I initially told you, publish and perish. Don't go for that. Sometimes simple phrase and keyword searching on the internet can also reveal plagiarism. Okay. Therefore, never try to publish and perish. Okay, there are regulations of plagiarism. These are some of the international committees, the Committee of Publication Ethics, then the European Association of Science Editors, the World Association of Medical Editors, the Council of Science Editors, all of them provide regulations on plagiarism. And in India, UGC has framed some regulations of plagiarism. So you will get it. There is an extraordinary gazette UGC has published. Okay, so I'm not taking you to that. If you click there, it will take you to that particular Gazette notification. Anyway, according to this Gazette notification, it says that each department in a system, it should have a departmental academic integrity panel, then an institutional academic integrity panel. In case of doubts or in case of complaints, this departmental academic integrity panel or institutional academic integrity panel, they have to intervene. And these are some of the plagiarism detection tools. Probably you may be knowing Authenticate, Turnitin, Urkund. These are, of course, subscription based. You cannot simply copy it. It's a mammoth tools. Many and UGC recommend Urkund, Authenticate, or Turnitin. In my university, Kerala Agricultural University, they have purchased Turnitin, and every thesis should go through this Turnitin for plagiarism. Then only it will be accepted. And some of the free or partially free softwares have been listed there. They are Dupli Checker, CopyLeaks, Paperwriter, Plagiarism Checker, Plagium, so like that. So the problem with partially free softwares is that they will not allow you to check more than 1,000 words at a time. So every time you have to put it with 1,000 words. Moreover, their base is somewhat shallow, not like Identicate or Turnitin. So Turnitin and Urkun, they have a bigger base. They would have already subscribed to a lot of bibliography databases. Okay, so you might have heard of the similarity index. So if you put your paper for plagiarism checking, that will create a similarity check. So when you submit your article for a plagiarism check, the results give a percentage score known as similarities index. So similarity index gives an indication of similar content. It's not a final answer for plagiarism, but it gives how much part of your article is similar to the contents in the internet. Maybe 20%, 25%, 19%, 14%, like that. Each university may have a provision, regulation. So it should be less than this much value. So these are the penalties provided under UGC notification using Urkund software. These are the penalties. Just see level 0, similarities up to 10%. So up to 10%, no action. Minor similarities, no penalty. Level 1, similarities about 10% to 40%. So such students need to submit a revised script within a stipulated period not exceeding 6 months. That is the provision. Level 2, similarities above 40% to 60%. Such students shall be debarred from submitting a revised script for 1 year. Similarities above 60%. Registration of students for that program shall be cancelled. Okay, so these are with respect to students who submit theses, and a similar penalty will be imposed on scientists who commit these kind of things. So these are, again, don't worry, some materials are excluded from similarity check. Okay, so information put in quotation with the necessary permission of attribution. I already mentioned. If you are putting it in quotation, nobody will take care. References or bibliography, table of content, preface, and acknowledgement, they're out of plagiarism checking. Then generic names, laws, standard symbols, and standard equations, that is also out. Then common knowledge or coincidental terms consisting of less than 14 consecutive words. So for example, if I say Department of Agronomy, Kerala Agricultural University, Thrissur, that's a string, isn't it? So that string, if it is consisting with less than 14 consecutive words, so it will not be counted for similarity checks. Then phrases, jargon, terminology, which are commonly used in writing, may be matched by the software, but you can exclude. Okay. Then, so I told you about this. Exclusion of small matches. Person with physical abilities, out. All students, teachers, and parents. So you cannot say these are plagiarism because every day or every time you are using that. Departmental Academic Integrated Panel or College of Agriculture and Thrissur. So you can set the software to exclude small match cases below 14 words. So all these things are there in that UGC notification. And so I have taken it from that UGC notification. And please note that the plagiarism detection software generates an originality. If a match is found between a submitted work and an existing one, software highlights the matching text. However, all cases of plagiarism cannot be detected through a plagiarism detection tool. So plagiarism detection tool detects only similarities. And if you have copied or stolen an idea, it cannot detect that. So what is required is scientific honesty and ethical behavior when dealing with the work of others. Okay. So scientific honesty and ethical behavior when dealing with the work of others. Okay, I am thanking everybody who has listened to this topic or lecture up to the time, and I think I have taken some 10 more minutes. Sorry for that. Thank you very much.
It's completely all right, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. You have very beautifully explained this topic, and your presentation and talk both are very informative. And I'm very sure that most of the participants have must have got clarity about the topic. But I have some questions. So, if you permit me, shall I ask the questions?
Oh, sure, sure, sure.
Yeah. Sir, question is one question is that most of the in most of the cases, if we want to publish our paper in open access journal, then we have to pay huge APC, that article processing charges. So most of the scholars are not able to pay such amount of money. So is there any sources of funding for publication in our country?
Okay. So what is supposed is, so you may be writing a paper using a project money. Okay. So in that case, you can take money, or you can fund from that project. So each project they allow, for example, CSIR or UGC or DST, they allow you to take money for publishing paper like this. That is one way, or your institutions to support. And if your paper is exceptionally of higher standard, you can write to them that I'm coming from a developing country. I don't have any source of funding. So you should exempt me. Sometimes they may exempt you fully or partially. Sometimes they will say you have to. We are waiving because of your exceptional paper. We are waiving some 50%, 25%. That depends upon the merit of your paper.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Another question is that somebody has asked that I have published my paper in some journals according to the NAS list, and that journal was good at that time. But after a few time, as the NAS list got updated every year, the journal is now not in the NAS list. It's predatory. So, is there any solution for this? Like how we can identify a good journal? Like over the years, it will remain. It will retain its credibility.
Okay, this is a problem. What you can do is you may take a screenshot of the NAS rating of that particular time. There is no other way. Okay, NAS rating or impact factor, whatever it is.
Yeah, but most of the institutes, like if we go for some interview, they just accept the current NAS rating, which is there at the time of the interview or at the time of that particular recruitment.
So you have to argue with them because at that time it was having a higher rating. What can I do? It is not your fault, isn't it? It is not your fault at all. So when you submitted your paper, that particular journal was functioning very well. Now it is out. So how they can blame you for that? Okay.
Yeah.
It's better. That's why I told you it is better. You may take a printout or screenshot of NAS rating of that particular time and keep it with you and show it.
Sure, sir. Sir, another question is that, like you have mentioned about the plagiarism and similarity index. So the question is that when we scholars, we submit research papers which are from our own thesis, and the thesis is available online. So when we submit it to a good journal and they just report us that it is showing some percentage of similarity index, that too from our own thesis. So how we can just avoid it?
Again, this is a problem. Sometimes some journals permit you. Okay. So, okay. Now, after identifying this problem, now many universities have come up with a solution. First, they will allow you to publish your paper. Okay. Then only the thesis is made. For example, I think in IRI now, Indian Agricultural Research Institute, now you have to compile your paper, and that compilation of your paper is your thesis. Okay. So this is the only way out, or otherwise you have to tell them. So thesis is published now first, then you are going to write your paper. In that case, you may write to the publishers or journal established that the situation is like this. So sometimes you may find some similarities. Okay, so that's one way. Otherwise, the entire thing you have to paraphrase. The entire thing you have to paraphrase. So that is also possible. If there is no other alternative, you have to go for paraphrasing. Okay.
Yes,
These are
sir.
some of the solutions which I can suggest.
So in the end, I have a personal question. Like while writing a paper for a book, by writing a book chapter for Elsevier book, I faced a problem. Like you have told us that in UGC, they allow us for plagiarism up to 14 words. But when we are submitting a book chapter for Elsevier, they are just telling us that your chapter has a similarity index. Like they are taking our institute name also in that similarity index. So how we can just change the institute name, or how we can just change the grammatical things, like some things with like some kind of some up to some percentage, it should be permissible to do that. So
yeah, see, you have to write to them, because the 14 I told you, that is accepted by UGC. So Elsevier may have a different pattern. So you may ask,
yes,
what is?
I think they have like 3 to 4 words, which is quite difficult.
Yeah, that's a problem. So
yeah, we can just we did the same thing. We just wrote to the editor like it's not possible for us. Like you can see what you can do, but we cannot do anything about it.
You cannot change your institute's name. How can you?
Yeah. We cannot change our department. We cannot change our institute name.
They
like
should
that.
Understand. They will understand. See, most editors will understand these problems.
Yes, sir. We are.
You have to convince them. You have to convince them.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. And we are done with the question which I have got. And like most of the participants, like all of the participants, sorry, they have joined through YouTube Live. So if we'll get any other question, we'll just send them these questions to you by mail. So
sure.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you for the valuable information. And I hope most of the participants have got best knowledge from you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. So dear participants, thank you for joining, and your presence has surely delighted us. So for the next session, we will join tomorrow, and the link for the session will be shared in your respective WhatsApp groups. So once again, I thank you all and have a great evening. Thank you, sir. Have a great evening.
Okay. Right.
Thank you, sir.